said to me last week, I will not forget. And it's, from an outsider's perspective, it seems like your public career is not like not ended in some way, it's beginning in a new way. Really powerful. And you described 3 issues that are central not just to your politics, but to your life. And if I remember it correctly, I think they were slowing down the number of people who are killed abroad in wars, okay, a lot of wars, opposing the pointless ones, protecting the natural environment that God created for us to enjoy, nature, and protecting the health of children.
I didn't hear that part. I didn't finish it. But it's always funny when he does it. That's all. No, he does it every time he does it right. We'll do it a little bit.
My career was, most of it was spent in environmental protection. And I went to work in 1983 for a blue-collar coalition of commercial and recreational fishermen who mobilized to reclaim the Hudson River from its
America!
And they were people who were capitalists. They came from an industry that was 350 years old. It's the oldest commercial fishery in North America on the Hudson River. And they saw this industry destroyed, not because it had any intrinsic flaws, but because a large company, the General Electric Company, had been able to use its political clout to do something illegal, which was to dump its toxic PCBs into the Hudson River. And when I first started working on the Hudson River, 2,500 families working on the river, enriching our culture, our palate, our economy, the life of the Hudson Valley, connecting us to our history, to our landscapes, to the waterways, and the 10,000, 20,000 generations of human beings that were here before the laptops. They were using the same fishing methods that were taught by the Algonquin Indians, the original Dutch settlers in New Amsterdam, and passed on through the generations. And all of a sudden, they couldn't fish anymore because there were plenty of fish in the Hudson.
That's John F. Kennedy's son.
And they recognized that these were capitalists, they were people, small business people. And they realized that government was in cahoots with the polluters. And that if they wanted to reclaim the river for themselves, they would have to do it themselves. They went to the government agencies, the Corps of Engineers, the Conservation Department, the Coast Guard, and they were given a bum's rush. They were told, these are important people. We can't force them to comply with the law. And they came to the conclusion the only way they were going to restore the river is if they confronted the polluters directly. They found an ancient navigational statute called the 1888 Rivers and Harbors Act that allowed people to prosecute polluters and then collect bounties. And they started suing polluters. They hired me as their attorney in 1984. We brought cases against over 500 successful cases in the Hudson. We forced polluters to spend about $5.5 billion remediating the river. Different than a lot of environmentalists who have kind of looked at untouched. My experience was about people who their communities were absolutely, the people who were that commercial fishery. It dictated the purity of the Hudsons, the abundance of the fishery, dictated their livelihoods, their property values, their recreational values. It was their social safety. If you wanted to job, you could still fish. You could feed
trying to relieve it, but it's kind of like.
And that was the state of New York, the constitutional state, the state, all the rivers, the waterways of the state.
I kind of try to.
Not only by the conservation department, not only by the general election company, not only the big dealers, but by the people.
You can't pop it.
Everybody has a right to use them.
Yeah, I feel better now.
So cool.
Every child in New York has a constitutional right to throw a plug into the river and bring out a striped bass and bring it home and feed their family.
Yeah, real American.
Then allow me to kind of understand a model or a blueprint were the things that I saw when I started studying the pharmaceutical industry. And so the other regulations, the other regulations, I came into this campaign, three major issues. One was the censorship. And
USA! USA!
any government can silence its critics has a license for any kind of atrocity.
Yep! Man.
And I see that any government
He's being real. That's how he feels. I'm not being funny, I'm American.
for any kind of atrocity.
Don't ever question my American. Ain't shit funny about that.
The freedom of speech in the First Amendment was all the other political rights were granted. And sure enough, the government found out, discovered that it could censor our speech in early 2020. Silence doctors, silence mothers, silence people who are, people scientists who are saying, wait, there are other alternatives. So we're doing lockdowns aren't going to work. Masks, no science.
You guys start fucking with YouTube. Huh? Definitely not start fucking with YouTube. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, YouTube is shit.
And as soon as the government figured out that it could get away with it,
Feels like Twitch.
it went after all their other
Yeah,
constitutional
it's good stuff.
is that it went after the other leg of the First Amendment, which is freedom of religion. It closed every church in the country for a year with no sign of expectation. It went after the third leg of the First Amendment, which is freedom of assembly, with these very bizarre social distancing regulations that again, they now admit are not science-based. They went after the Fifth Amendment, which is property rights. They closed 3.3 million businesses with no due process, no just compensation, no science-based citation, no notice of comment rulemaking, no public hearings, all the things that I've been suing governments and corporations for 40 years, all the indicia of democracy.
I'm just into education.
And then you have the Seventh Amendment, which the Seventh Amendment
Cool.
gives us the right. The jury trial, the Seventh Amendment is very simple. It says no American shall be denied the right of a trial before a jury of their peers in case their controversies exceeding $25. That's all it says. There's no pandemic exception. And by the way, the framers of the Constitution were all about pandemics.
Yeah.
There were two epidemics during the Revolutionary War. One of them, the malaria epidemic that decimated the army of Virginia, and a smallpox epidemic that decimated the armies of New England at the very time when
Congratulations. I hope it does really well. I hope you have fun.
So we were in the inner city of Montreal.
I hope it touched a lot of people.
Which meant we controlled Canada. And he had to withdraw his troops because he couldn't control the city because so many of his troops were down in smallpox. Otherwise, Canada today would be part of the United States, but for that smallpox epidemic. The framers all knew that when they gathered 10 years later, 9 years later, in Philadelphia to ratify the Bill of Rights. Between the end of the Revolution and the ratification of the Bill of Rights in 1792, there were epidemics in every city that killed tens of thousands of people. Malaria epidemics, smallpox, yellow fever, typhus, typhoid, cholera. They all knew about epidemics, yet they did not put an epidemic exception in the Constitution. They wrote that document for hard times.
Yeah, that's cool.
Bring that up. I mean, I think one of the things we often fall into the
Shout out Henny
trap
Gang.
in an election year is to see, let's take the most important of those things, the First Amendment, through a partisan lens. Do we have a Democratic Party that has been using social media companies to silence speech through the back door that they could not through the front door? Absolutely we have. Is that something we need to hold them accountable for? Absolutely. But I think that if we're to, and this is one of the things I love about you, Tucker, is you're willing to challenge people 360 degrees. I don't care if you're a Republican or not. Yeah, I had conversations with a number of Republicans in the last week who are railing appropriately against Brazil for its banning of X, which is preposterous. It's a major Western, supposedly allied nation. Very people who claim that you want to stand for human rights and democracy are all have nothing to say when it comes to Brazil banning a social media platform. But then I challenge some of these people, because I know what their views are on this question. They say, gee, it seems like a pretty bad idea for a government of a supposedly free country that just bans outright a social media platform because they don't like the way that it operates. And here's the part where we challenge our own people. That's exactly what the U.S. government has done with respect to a platform that I don't love that much. I don't like many aspects of it at all, TikTok. But I do think that we live in one of these moments where the trap in an election is one of the things I love about your candidacy, leaving the Democratic Party to run as an independent allowed you to do what more of us in either party need to be doing is question the orthodoxies of both parties and go back to first principles of what's in the U.S. Constitution. And you gotta have the same shit that the other fuck
I saw Vice President Harris this week take a statement where she said that, she said two things. She said one that the thing is with and Vice President candidate.
Thanks for watching, MC.
That the First Amendment does not protect disinformation and misinformation. The First Amendment protects disinformation, and it protects misinformation, and it protects lies. It protects all speech. It was not written for the speech that we all want to hear. It was written.
Is this good?
We have Democratic Party, the party I grew up in. The word liberal is a derivative from the term for free speech. So that was the central core of this party. When I was growing up, my father, my uncle loved this country so much because of the freedom to have conversation. This idea that the free flow of information was the sunlight, was the soil, was the water for democracy, and without democracy, we would never die like that. Oh, I have occasionally go against the Biden administration. I was just granted. Judge Doty, federal judge in that decision, wrote in the earlier decision, 155-page decision, that details what we now know about the Biden White House's censorship program. And what Doty 37 hours after he took the oath of office, swearing to uphold the Constitution, which includes the First Amendment. He can open up a portal and order the social media companies, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, to begin censoring its political critics. And on that information, but also other information as well, including criticism of the Ukraine war. And I was the first person that they ordered Facebook to censor. Facebook actually pushed back at one point and said, you know, Facebook complied and took down the entire
100%, because I like this guy.
But they couldn't find a single factual mistake ever on my Instagram account. And Facebook, during the email exchange, which we now have, pushes back at one point and says, this is actually not factually erroneous. And so they had to coin a new word, which was malinformation, which is information, factual assertions that are technically correct, but are nevertheless inconvenient for the government. And they ordered Facebook to censor misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. So that portal which they opened, the Biden White House turned over to the FBI, but you have the FBI participating in the censorship of American citizens engaging in political speech. The FBI then invited the CIA, CISA, which is a group that you may not have heard of, but it is the center of the censorship industrial complex. The DHS, the IRS, I don't know what they were censoring, and NIH, CDC, and
Our paychecks.
to participating in the censorship project. And I now have an injunction against the White House from doing that to me anymore.
Yeah!
For the very reason, in fact, just mentioned about what happened in Brazil. And Tucker, you and I talk about this. We're seeing an emergence now of totalitarianism in all the Western democracies, like nothing I could ever imagine. Europe no longer has free speech. Europe has, is now, the European Union is officially censoring information on the internet. And the European Commission, a man named Thierry Breton, recently sent a letter to Elon Musk saying that if he aired an unedited version a live interview with President Trump on X, that he would be fined as much as 6% of the value of the company.
Wow.
And then France, a week later, arrests Pavel Durov when he lands on a gas stop, a fuel stop in France. This is particularly alarming because France
Is this better?
lost a passion and tradition for free speech as we had.
Is this better?
During the American Revolution, or during the French Revolution of 1789, the French Republic adopted all of these very, very strong laws guaranteeing freedom of speech. And in the 1880s, they passed another slew of laws, again, protecting free speech. And they guarded and nurtured that as much as we did in this country, as much as any country in the world. To see France do this.
That was embarrassing.
By the way, there's no reason for them to arrest him because he's a citizen of France has a tradition so they could actually. But furthermore, the European Union already is censoring content. Well, they went an extra step to arrest and punish this person and put him in prison. Send a message to all of us that, you know, about who's in charge. And that is terrifying to me. I have so many Democratic friends. Oh, Jimmy Dore was on here Air Refuge agencies
That they didn't let come in.
our country that are still functioning, given Congress's error, that would resist the violent overthrow of the American government. And I don't think we were close to a violent overthrow of the American government. Those attacks on free speech, to me, are a genuine existential threat to our state.
Will say every time you speak publicly, and I hope to do the same, that we're watching the transformation of the free world into a totalitarian system.
Yes.
I don't think that's an understatement. And so the questions for each of you, start with you, Vivek. How do we stop that? Because if we don't, then we're done.
Yeah, so I agree with everything Bobby said. I think there's two steps to stopping it that I want to highlight, though. I do worry about what's happening in I do worry about what's happening in Brazil and France and other allied, supposedly free nations. But I worry most about what's happening right here at home in the United States of America. And so the best step to stopping the rise of this authoritarianism around the world is to first stop it permanently here.
Yeah! Woo! Talk that talk, Professor. Talk that talk.
You know, France's history, even if you look at even France, but let alone the other countries, none of those other countries put the First Amendment first, right? So we can preach to other countries about their failure to respect free speech, but our whole national identity, like who we are as Americans, the existence of this country, the fact that we all call ourselves American, that only means something in reference to our actual rights that we have given to people
Yes, yes.
since 1776. So it goes to the heart of our national identity itself. So the first thing I would say, Tucker, is yes, we see it around the world, yes, fixing the problem starts right here at home. The second thing I would say, this is the hard part, is that as much as the three of us here were in lockstep alignment on being free speech absolutes on this stage, as much as we can point our finger at the government and its overreach and working with corporations and working through backdoor government regulation and backdoor action to suppress the silent speech, that only works if you have a population that is willing to comply. Okay, and I think that there's another half of this problem that we really honest with ourselves we have to talk about, which is what is it inside each of us
thinking about
that makes us, as so many are, want to bend the knee to that position. And we can complain about the regime all we want, we're missing the other half of the problem unless we also fill that void that causes people to bend the knee, right? If you don't pledge allegiance to the American flag, you're going to pledge allegiance to a different flag instead. If you don't believe in God, you're going to believe in a new false idol instead. And so I think that that's the harder part we need to fix in this country is that revival of purpose and meaning and grounding ourselves in our identity as Americans. And I think if we get that part right, we as a citizenry, we as individuals say, no, nobody's going to tell me or shame me or threaten me to do anything other than express my opinion and tell you who I am and what I believe, then I think the government part will actually solve itself along with it. So some of that's not just on the government, it's on us. They put the Second Amendment after the First Amendment for a reason. It's the one that puts the teeth into all of the others. And that too is part of what our founding fathers envisioned this in 1776.
Are you hopeful that the tide of totalitarianism can be turned, and if so, how?
I think it all depends on this election. Because I don't think, and I try not to badmouth other candidates. I think, my approach is to try to dampen the vitriol and the anger and the hatred. I think we have to stop hating each other.
I like this guy.
The statements that Kamala Harris makes and that the Vice President makes, I don't think they have a clear vision of what supposed to look like. I don't think they understand the First Amendment. I don't think they understand the Constitution. I saw Kamala at the convention, and she gave a speech that was very bellicose and belligerent. It was like it was a kind of speech like the econs and the CIA. They had the first time in history, they had a CIA former director speaking right before her, Leon Panetta, and military people speaking with the Democratic Convention. The Democratic Convention was a Democrat with the anti-war party. They were the pro-Constitution party. They were the party that was against Wall Street, against and representing the little guys, the cops, the firefighters, union and labor people. And I talked to you about this show last week. In the 2020 election, roughly 50% of the
needs some
people
water.
in this country
Sounds like it hurts.
voted for Donald Trump. But that group that voted for Donald Trump represented 30% of the wealth in our country. The 50% of the people that voted for Joe Biden represented 70% of the wealth. There's been an inversion now, where the Republican Party has become the party of the common man, of working people.
Real friends. How many of us?
Wall Street, the military-industrial complex, the big pharma, big agriculture,
Oh, big pharma. Sucks.
the big banking systems. This web of financial interest. It's not necessarily a little conspiracy. It's a conspiracy of self-interest that functions together.
Oh, mother, son, and baby.
The shift of upward, climate actions, military controls, transform this country from the world's exemplary democracy
Nothing came out.
into a corporate kleptocracy and a very, very oppressive oligarchical system. China's system that reflects revolution.
He said no.
Hey, look, right there, your nose. I can smell the booger.
For each of you, and it's one of the reasons that I'm fascinated by you both, respect you both, what great for your career. Neither one of you needs to be doing this. You both just ran, you both dropped out, you both kept going. Again, you're not doing it for the money, you're not doing it for the adulation, the media hates you both. Doesn't make your life, no, it's true. Doesn't make your life less complicated. It's incredibly tiring and at some points tiresome, but you persist both. Why? Okay.
Gratitude. I think that my parents came to this country with no money 40 years ago, and in a single generation, what have I found in multi-billion-dollar companies? My wife lived the American dream. We're raising people.
Woo!
We've got blessings.
Amen.
It is my sense of gratitude to this country to have made possible what my parents or me growing up would have never imagined was possible. And you know what? I've given a lot of thought to this idea of, now obviously we say a lot, making America great again. And you know, of course there's a nostalgia, right? The country that my parents came into, we struck like a melting pot back in the 1990s. This notion of assimilating into one country, which had a common identity, has now become a microaggression. So there's certain elements of what we missed from the 1990s. The idea that the best person gets the job, regardless of their skin color, or the idea that, you know, what you get to speak your mind as long as I get to return. These basic quaint ideas, we want to bring that back. But for me, I think that's not good enough, actually. I think that we, in some ways, part of America isn't just making America great again. I think that's what Donald Trump means with this second time around. You can hear it between the lines of what he says and what moves me too is, I want to make America greater than it's ever been before.
Yeah!
Relatively young person, you know, I hope my best days are still ahead of me. I don't take that for granted. Every day is a blessing, and If we wake up tomorrow, that's a gift too. But I hope my best days are ahead of me. And I do think it's also going to take some people from the next generation to make a country whose best days are ahead of us too. So I don't know what form that's going to take for me in the next step. But whatever it is, we're going to keep going and each play our part. And if we each do, I think that not in some fake politician way, but in a true way, I think we are going to make America greater than it's ever been before.
Woo! Yeah.
It has been a long slog for you, and you are more energetic and energized than ever, it seems to me. Why are you doing this?
Well, I talked to you a moment ago about what I see as the evolution of American democracy and how it's
This guy's got a lot of
something I would describe it as a totalitarian system. And I see, because of my chronic disease issue, and what I did for 20 years before that, working on environmental issues, I see how these powers, these economic applications, commoditize.
Running the campaign is not easy.
The border, commoditize, they steal it.
Donald Trump too.
Yeah.
I know what their diet is. I know what their diet is.
Probably pretty solid.
His diet is disciplining this guy. I don't know
You see
about
them
that.
doing the push-ups?
No.
He's like diesel as fuck.
Really?
Yeah.
That's hard.
With that scene, he's like, I thought it was fake.
That's hard. That's how I aspire when I'm old.
Deadass.
We have in this country now the sickest children in the world.
Fucking
With the highest chronic disease burden of any nation on earth. When my uncle was president, we were spending, we had 6% of Americans with chronic disease. Today, almost 60% do. And when my uncle was president, I was a boy.
Times 10.
We spent 0 on chronic disease in this country. Today, we spend 4.3 trillion. And that money is going upward into the pockets of certain people. And mainly it's the pharmaceutical industry, the most valuable asset in America today is a sick child. Because if you can get a child sick when they're very young, get them dependent on Ozempic and Adderall and insulin
You're getting kids on nothing.
and seizure medication, you have a client for life that is spending, she's generating thousands of dollars potentially a week in revenue for these injuries. And so I see how they're commoditizing it. They're stealing everything of value. And they're ultimately, that comes from them being able to overrun our constitutional rights. I saw it during COVID. I saw the whole thing compressed exactly what they're up to.
You don't know how many people that pass my head. Throw my phone, jump in.
I just want to dump my
I
back.
was given a speech to 1.3 million people
Falling smoke.
who would come from all over
Like
America.
they're probably gonna die, but like
But
that's really seriously.
because they saw what was happening with these men.
And they're gonna be like, why the fuck? And they
Came from every nation in Europe.
I really like that.
And I was in my days
a
PhD.
hat.
That's strong. Strong shit. Strong thoughts.
They were all wearing masks. And they said to me, why aren't you wearing a mask? You're in this big crowd shaking hands. Aren't you scared of
That's what for some reason want to stop this place.
And I said, there's things that scare me a lot more than dying. Like what? I said, like losing my constitutional rights. Having my children grow up in America where they cannot speak freely and criticize. We have a whole generation in 1776 of people, of men and women who gave their fortunes, they gave their property, they gave their status and their lives to giving us this Constitution, to giving us this incredible gift. And we became the template for the rest of the world. In 1776, we were the only democracy on earth. By 1865, there were 5. By the time my uncle was president, there were about 130, and by the end of the 1960s, there were 190, all based on the American model. So we truly were the exemplary democracy. We were the hope, the light for the whole world.
Justice. Democracy.
As a model, nobody wants the system we have. We fought, we're no longer a moral authority. We've eroded this through this dynamic. And I don't want that for my children. I want my children to grow up with a hope.
Yeah.
In 2013, there was a poll where they asked young Americans under the age of 35, are you proud to be American? 85% said yes. The same poll taken 6 months ago, 17% said yes. So we have a whole generation that's lost their pride in being an American citizen, and they've lost hope for their own future. And we have a generation
You're alive.
in 1776.
Right. They're right.
20,000 of them died. A huge number, like 1 million people today. They give us our Constitution. And they said to us that every generation must order the true liberty with its own blood if they're going to hold on to us.
Yeah, that was deep.
That was deep.
That was deep.
It's not something I want to do. I have a really good life. And I have a great family that love me. I still have a nuclear family that
And
loves
now
me.
it's up to us to do the same. For our music.
I didn't feel like I had a choice. I felt like I have to do this the same reason people left their homes in 1776 to do something for an idea. And I want to keep that idea for my
America! Long live America! Long live America. Oh, shit. Long live America. Long live America. Long live America. Long live America.
This is my best friend's Harry.
Yeah, I met you.
Hey, what's up, man?
What's your name?
Tracy.
Tracy. Nice to meet you, Tracy. Zio.
Yeah, nice to
Yeah,
meet you.
likewise,
Nice to
likewise.
meet you.
He's just in the restroom.
Hi, Kendra.
Kendra, Zio, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Oh man, that was fun.
Right there.
That was
You
fun.
gotta remind him. We'll get halfway to the parking lot. You're like, you're pee as you walk.
All right, guys. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed. It's good. Learned a lot.